Oh, he would tell stories about little girls walking along in their pretty dresses, and here's a little boy with his puppy, and he would talk about the beauty of the lake. In fact, he said so beautifully these descriptions that the man who was lying down lived for that moment when he'd be able to hear what was going on outside. Sometimes it was even a softball game, or how a little child was saved from drowning in the lake. Well, time went on, and the man next to the window died. They took his body quietly away. The man lying there flat on his back in his loneliness wanted desperately to be next to the window, so when it was decent, he asked if he could be moved, and they said yes, and they tucked him in and they left him. And then, desperate for some news and some sights from the outside, he raised himself on one elbow and then the other to try to look out that window, and finally he was able to look out and discovered that that window was up against a blank wall. You know, there are some people who can see beyond the walls. There are some people who are hemmed in, and they can see beyond the walls. They can see God, and they say, this wall is formidable, but it is not big enough or strong enough for God. And you begin to see through the walls to God. British Columbia, lovely, lovely province in a very lovely, lovely country. There was a prison built where no one tried to get out of. But when it was torn down so that they could build a new one, the workmen discovered something very interesting. It was not built of concrete. It was built of wallboard, but the wallboard mimicked concrete. It looked like concrete. The prisoners could have broken out. There's no question about that, but nobody ever tried. Do your walls today seem so strong, so deep, so filled with concrete that you can neither see God nor see the possibility that if you were to push in faith, the walls might collapse so that you can be free? World War II, a young soldier took his bride to California. She was terribly lonely in all that heat, sitting there in all that loneliness. And she wrote to her mother, and she said, "Mother, I'm just too lonely." Her mother wrote back 2 lines. "Two men sit in prison bars. One sees mud, the other stars." It all depends. You can see whatever you want to see. If you're a wall lover, and that's all you see, then keep loving and hugging that wall. But if you can see beyond that, and you can see God, suddenly His glory and His honor and the possibilities of what God can do wells up within our hearts, and we say, "Oh God, this wall is no match for you and your promises. March straight ahead and take the city." Well, this is Pastor Lutzer, and of course I don't want to be lighthearted in saying that all that we need to do is believe and all the walls fall. But I do want to say that God is on our side wherever we find ourselves. And if we trust Him, even if those walls continue to stand for a while, as we stand in faith, His will is accomplished, His will is done. My heart is heavy today because yesterday we received an email telling about the death of one of our missionaries. He was perhaps 45 years old, leaves behind a wife and children. And I thought to myself, here's a young woman who is now a widow. Is God there for her? Well, I'm sure that there are going to be many tears, many unanswered questions, much sorrow, as she now raises these little ones on her own. But we have to say that even there, The hand of God will guide, the hand of God will direct, and it is our privilege to give her hope. But of course, we're all involved, aren't we? Today, I speak to those of you who are lonely, those of you who are discouraged. You need another Christian to come alongside of you, to stand with you, and to give you the encouragement that you need to keep on believing no matter what. Your walls haven't fallen yet. There are some in my life that haven't fallen yet. But if we keep trusting, we will still see the glory of God. So glad that you joined us. Join us again next time as we continue running to win with you and your needs in mind.
Thank you, Dr. Lutzer. That was Dr. Erwin Lutzer wrapping up Let the Walls Fall, the third message in his series, Getting Started Right, Lessons from the Life of Joshua. Tomorrow, the euphoria of Jericho gives way to a surprising failure at a place called Ai. Join us as we calculate the cost of hidden sin. Running to Win comes to you from the Moody Church in Chicago. Getting Started Right can be yours as a 6-message CD series. The series is our thank you when you give a gift of any amount to support Running to Win. Just call 1-800-215-5001. That's 1-800-215-5001. Online, go to offerrtw.com. That's offerrtw, all one word, .com. Or write to Running to Win at Box 11174, Chicago, Illinois 60611. This is Dave McAllister. Don't miss tomorrow's Running to Win.